Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and I hope you're going to have an awesome day today. Right, I am up with more from Eiffel store, and people had asked to see the fishy set. So this is the fishy set, and it's kind of all wobbly all over its package because I've stamped a few things to save a bit of time. But you get two wonderful fishies. It was shown in the haul, and this is the one we're using today. To go with it, I'm using two frames from the same set from Surprise Creation. So these are the square, oh, we're blurred already, the square stitched frames. So we've got two of those. This is my background, but I'm going to be doing something with that piece, so I'll keep that one there. Just move that one out of the way. Now these are the little bits that I've almost finished, and the reason I did it is because I fussy cut. So I've coloured in the I think they're clams or oysters and swirly twirlies, yeah, whatever they are, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's too early. Swirly twirly shells, that's what they are. A starfish, and I've fussy cut three other little fish. I've put little white dots in their eyes so far, but I am going to go with more more white gel pen. I am sorry, I haven't got a clue what it's called, but you know, for the purposes of this, it's a swirly twirly shell. There you go. Those are the bits that I've done so far, and the fish that I've decided to use is this one, and I've stamped it twice so you can have a good look. It stamps beautifully, and the reason I've stamped it twice is because I want a whole fish and then I want a tail, so I've got something to fluff up and something that's a bit dimensional. So you can see where we're going here. And first of all, I'm going to put down my scruffy mat because I need to colour my little fish base. My other base is going to be left white, and the pens that I'm using today are some really old pens that I've got on eBay, and they are Copics, and if I put them on ends there, I'm hoping you can see those are the colours that I'm using. Just hold them there for a few seconds. So quite pastely, and I've also got my white gel pen, and I may use my lovely gold sparkle pen. And if you're new, there it is. It's a Uniball Signo, and it's actually called Sparkling. It's a fabulous pen, the sparkliest pen out there. And that one is a jelly roll, and it's a 08. Right, so first of all, colouring this, and I want to do it in Distress ink, not Distress Oxide, because that's going to give me a solid background, which I don't want. I want something with a little bit more transparency, so ye old tumbled glass. And to prove just how old it is, let's flip it over and look for a date. I don't think they actually date them anymore. There you go. That's how long I've had this pad. Pull in and out. You can see it there. 2012. And all I do is re-ink it. That's all I ever do to this pad. And look at it. Still good after all these years. So I'm squiggling around. I'm getting plenty on. It's a lovely pale colour. I'm going to go in off the edges first because I want my edges defined. And I always hold my blending tool down at the bottom like this because it's just easier on your wrist, and also I think it gives your blending tool more longevity, because if you're constantly holding it by the handle, you run a risk of eventually snapping the handle. Although if that happens, if you've got some hot glue, you can just hot glue it straight back on. Right, so now I've got a lovely dark edge, and I want a very subtle and mottled bluey background. And I don't care if it's blotchy. But if you can see that going on, it's really pale and subtle. and my paper is squeaking, so I do apologise for that. You kind of tend that sort of like thick slick surfaces, and your blending tool will squeak on it, a bit like fingernails down a blackboard. Right, so I'm very, very pale and subtle. Quite a lot of white showing through. Whereas, of course, if you'd have used an oxide, it would have been completely solid. It would have saturated your card, and you wouldn't have seen any white at all. Now, I don't know if I've got to hold that into the light, but it is there. It's just very, very subtle. Right, so now that I've done that bit, I am going to get my white one. So if I pop it on top, hopefully you can see the colour difference there. So depending which way round I have it, might have the darker bit at the bottom or the top. I haven't decided yet, but you know, I'm hoping that my camera gets some focus soon. Otherwise I'm going to have to run off and make another coffee. Right, so those are my base bits done. So the next bit I want to do is use those markers and colour in my fish. So what I will do is I'll do bits and bobs, and then I'll go off and finish it. So I'm trying to tie it in with colours that I've already used. So I'm going to start with my palest one first, which is the E00, and it's kind of a flesh tone, so I'm going to use it just on the face. Now if I go over the edges, I'm not bothered because I am fussy cutting my fish out. So that's one of the great things about fussy cutting. If you do go over the edge, you know, you just do not have to worry about it. And go a little bit darker up there on the cheek. So there is one part of my fishy. The next bit I want to use is, I think I'm going to go in with pink. So this is the R20. So there's a very subtle difference between this and what I've just put down, which means I can go in and do a little bit of a cheek. So around that area there, I'm just going to dot it, make it a little bit more cute. So that darkens that up a bit, and then I'm going to do stripy bits coming off that pink. Don't worry if you're being perfect or not, just have fun. And then I'm going to go with some yellow. So I'm going to go my yellow in there. I do not care if it bleeds outside the edges. And then I'm going to go yellow into my flowers because they look like daisies to me. And then I want to do those petals in blue. So it's a BG10. Real quick. I love this. Colouring is so therapeutic. Now of course you could use your stamps onto watercolour paper if you wanted to, and use your watercolours. You can do them however you want to, whatever makes you feel comfortable. That's the way you should do anything. And I may go quiet. But isn't that cute? I like that. Now, I haven't got a clue what colour I'm going to do the body. So, I'm just kind of like thinking about that at the moment. Out of the colours that I've grabbed, because I wanted everything to tie in with the shells and everything else that I picked. So, I think what I might do is go for E11, which is quite a strong colour in comparison. I want to leave my dots white because I think I'm just going to go over those little dots with gel pen. And of course these colours are very, very similar to each other, you know, in sort of like pastel-y tone, which is why I chose them. And I think I'm going to do the fins in yellow. I think that will look quite nice. Now don't worry about your marker, because you know you can go so far and it will continue to bleed onto the paper. So if you feel you haven't gone right up to something, honestly it just doesn't matter. And if you've got a little white gap, you can just touch it with the very tip of your alcohol marker. And I'm going to quickly do the finning yellow, and then I'm going to complete colouring. So this is the YR31, which I used in the centre of the flowers. And of course I'm going to use similar colour in the tail. And like I said, I've got to fussy cut these out, so I will not force you to watch that. No, I won't. So there is so far the body of my little fish. And there is a little bit that's quite noticeably missed, so I do need to touch that up. It's quite nice to actually go around the flowers and see if you can't cast a little bit of shadow on them. Right, so I am going to do the tails in similar colours, fussy cut, and I will be right back. Right then, so I've coloured in the bits for my fish, and I've put my blue base onto my white base, and I've popped it up on foam. So that's all done. But now I want to add a few pretties and sparklies. So I've got my white gel pen here, and I'm just going to go into places that I've missed. So I am going to pick this up so that you can get a close-up after. But I'm just putting a few little white dots in, you know, that kind of interest me. Now the base tail you're not going to see. This is the one that's going to go on top and be fluffed up. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle. So I do love this pen. So I think in my flowers on the body, I'm going to have a little splash of gold. I'll hold that up and hopefully you can see it. It is really, really sparkly. Maybe when it goes down on the background you'll see it a lot better. And I'm just going to add a few shimmering dots. Yeah, let's put it in the right place onto the tail. And I think I'm going to put a little bit in there. So I'm just putting little gold dots down at the base of the gold part of the tail. Just doing it random. I might put a little bit there as well. Going into all of those little circles. Right, I'll just let those little bits dry for a minute and then I'll be right back. Right, so I've done lots of little dotties and I've put those on my my swirly twirly shell and my clam oysters and my little starfish, and then I've just put little white dots along the bottom body of the fish. They've got little cheeks and a little dot in the eyes there. So those are the little bits and pieces. And then on the big fish there are a few white dots and I'm trying to get that to show you how it sparkles. Let's see how close we can go. There you go. I hope that that picks it up. It really is a sparkly sparkle. So I don't really have to worry about that tail because it's going to be covered up. Now I have noticed I didn't quite fussy cut close enough there, and a good fix for that is to get the pen that you coloured the face with, which I'm just trying to take the cap off now. I'm using the bullet tip, and you can just track gently on the edge just to knock the whiteness of your paper off, and then it doesn't really matter that you missed a bit because it kind of blends in, if you know what I mean. So that's that done. I'm just going to move my stamp set out of the way because I keep putting my elbow on it. And we need to assemble. Right, now then, the fishy tail I am doubling up, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here, just a small dot. I'm putting the pin back in, and I think that a lot of this is going to be popped up on foam pads because I think that would just be a lot more fun. Now that's not quite dry yet, so what I'm doing is I'm getting my pen and I'm just going to fluff that tail just a little bit, and then I'm going to stick it down on there. I'm going to pick that up so that you can have a look, make sure that I've got it on straight. Might do a little bit more fluffing. Get a close-up of that. Yeah, so we've got this lovely fan-shaped tail. And this is obviously going onto here, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to pop it up onto foam. So I need to bring my other bits in and kind of like decide if that's going to go at a little bit of an angle. So I've got 3 of the oyster shells that I did, and I don't mind if anything goes off the edge because I've got quite a wide border, and you know, sort of angling them differently. So it's a bit like a flower arrangement, isn't it? I mean, you can have one in front of the other like that, and then I can have a swirl and maybe another swirl at a different angle, so that we're kind of building it up here. And then I've got my sparkly starfish. Now I'm kind of popping it on the card because that's basically where I'm going to glue and fix everything, but my big fish is going to go up on foam. So maybe I want a fish that's going between the shells, kind of thing. Some bits are moving. Maybe I want one up here. Yeah, quite like that arrangement. Right, I'm just going to go away and glue that down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got those glued on, and of course the next thing is my lovely sparkly fish, which is super sparkly, and I've got some foam on the back, so I'm just peeling the backs off my tape, and then I'm just going to position my fish. And I do want it pointing downwards. I'm going to go there. Right, I am now committed. Right, that is my fish card, and I absolutely love that. Yes, I do. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can see. Oh yes, that's better. You can see the sparkle now. And there's a little bit just on the starfish. And of course, if you want more gold sparkles, which is something that I usually do, then you can go ahead and add absolutely as many sparkles as you want to. Love that. You could dot that with little pearls all over, or whatever you wanted to do, little glass beads. It would look fabulous. But just a really cute set. Absolutely enjoyed that. So I thank you so much for joining me today. I am up tomorrow with the request, and that is for the cup and saucer with, I think it's got the milk jug. It's either a milk jug or a teapot. So we're going to be doing that one tomorrow, and that's a great way to go into the weekend. So once again, have an absolutely wonderful day, and as usual, all links below. Bye.